Amidst the terrifying presence of Chinese ships in the Pacific south of Japan and Japan's aircraft carrier getting very close to China's Liaoning, it's clear that tensions between the two countries are rising. In response, Japan has spent a huge amount of resources and effort to strengthen its military, especially focusing on aircraft carriers and forming strong alliances with powerful countries like the US and UK. China, on the other hand, doesn't plan to back down and has made significant moves to bolster their military strength as well, a move that has shocked the United States, leading to fears of imminent attacks. Does China possess a formidable sea beast? What are some of the most powerful aircraft carriers in the world and why? Join us as we explore the features of the world's most expensive and equally powerful aircraft carriers. The aircraft carrier, often called 100,000 tons of naval diplomacy, is a powerful naval tool with evolving roles. Aircraft carriers have played 6 main roles since their inception. Initially, they served as the eyes of the fleet in the Second World War, scouting for enemy ships. They evolved to conduct cavalry raids, disrupting enemy operations. As capital ships, they engaged in decisive battles with calculated risks. They also became nuclear strike platforms during the Cold War, addressing concerns about bomber capabilities. Carriers have acted as geopolitical chess pieces, showcasing national power, and as airfields at sea, supporting operations with their mobility. Despite new threats, carriers remain central to naval operations. Their roles have adapted to new technologies, but their importance persists. Submarines have taken over as primary nuclear strike platforms due to their stealth and effectiveness. But carriers and submarines serve different purposes and shouldn't be directly compared. Due to their strategic importance, they continue to be an important part of a nation's military arsenal. In relation to the tension between China and Japan, to avoid being at a disadvantage in a potential conflict with China, Japan must assert itself as a growing power. However, China poses a formidable challenge. It boasts the world's largest land army with over 2 million active soldiers and the largest submarine fleet. Moreover, with its new Type 003 Fujian aircraft carrier launched in June 2022, China now has the world's second largest aircraft carrier fleet, greatly boosting its naval strength. The new carrier, similar to American supercarriers, has a modern design, an advanced flight deck, and electromagnetic launch systems that can handle many types of modern aircraft. The Fujian has an impressive displacement of 80,000 tons, all powered by steam turbines that produce over 220 horsepower. This powerful floating airbase is what China's non-allies are up against, and with Japan being the most notable non-ally in close proximity, the mantle is on the country to be at least something of a worthy adversary, while the US and UK make their journey east. The size has been likened to the Kitty Hawk-class aircraft carriers of the United States Navy. On the flight deck, there are 3 electromagnetic catapults and an angled landing area equipped with arresting gear. Fujian's air group is expected to consist of approximately 40 fixed-wing aircraft and 12 helicopters. Anticipated aircraft models include variants of the Shenyang J-15 and FC-31 fighters, as well as the Xi'an KJ-600 airborne early warning and control aircraft. The carrier is powered by conventional steam turbines and diesel generators. According to Chinese military analyst Song Zhongping, the ship features an integrated power system. Initially designated Type 002 by observers, Fujian's class designation evolved as the incomplete Shandong was identified as Type 001A and later Type 002 upon commissioning in December 2019. Subsequently, observers began referring to the unfinished Fujian as Type 003. And originally planned with steam catapults in 2013, Plan Rear Admiral Yin Zhuo announced the decision to use EM catapults. Prototypes were observed in 2012. The shift to EM catapults likely contributed to the carrier's larger size compared to previous Chinese carriers. Construction began in the mid-2010s, starting according to the National Interest in March 2015. The Diplomat reported initial work began in February 2016, with Shanghai Jiangnan Shipyard Group authorized to proceed in March 2017. EM and steam catapult tests reportedly caused delays in June 2017, but work resumed by November 2017 after the plan developed an integrated electric propulsion system to power the EM catapults. The first prefabricated block modules were placed in the dry dock in July 2020, with most of the keel and base hull blocks in place by early September 2020. The superstructure was completed by July 2021. This is why Japan has its JS Izumo aircraft carrier. Building the first ship of the Izumo class started in 2011 at a shipyard in Yokohama, and that magnificent project was with approximately 113 billion yen. It is said to be the biggest Japanese naval ship since World War II, and it was eventually launched on August 6, 2013, after which it underwent sea trials and officially joined the fleet on March 2015. This aircraft carrier was initially designed and built to carry helicopters, but later on in May 2018, the ruling Liberal Democratic Party said they wanted to upgrade it with the ability to carry fighter jets with fixed wings. This change was confirmed in December 2018 when Japan announced new guidelines for defense. Once they finish making these changes, Izumo will be the first Japanese naval ship to carry aircrafts with fixed wings since World War II. With this new aircraft carrier in sight, they plan to replace the outdated aircraft carriers from the Shirane class with them. After the expensive and most anticipated upgrade, the JS Izumo is now capable of carrying 28 advanced aircraft or 14 bigger ones. Simply amazing. This aircraft carrier can host a crew of about 470 people and can also carry up to 400 Japanese self-defense force troops for other operations. When involved in a standard mission, the Izumo class can house 7 SH-60K anti-submarine warfare helicopters and 2 MCH-101 utility helicopters, with the ability to operate up to 5 helicopters at the same time. However, the carrier can accommodate a total of 28 helicopters within its hangars. Referred to as a multi-purpose vessel, the new carrier's main task, according to Japanese officials, was initially to boost the national defense system, particularly in anti-submarine warfare and command and control operations, to protect Japanese territories in the East China Sea. Furthermore, a vessel of this nature also serves as an invaluable tool in response to large-scale natural disasters, such as the devastating earthquake and tsunami in 2011. The rapid mobilization of personnel and supplies can mean better response times and even increased survival rates among those affected. After it was unveiled to the public, China became curious about this carrier and its capabilities. They quickly perceived it as a potential threat due to the carrier's resemblance to a conventional carrier. Although the JS Izumo is officially classified as a destroyer that possesses designs for defense and capabilities, China and some of the warfare experts started to speculate that this new Japanese vessel can be used to launch fighter jets or any other aircraft that is capable of a vertical takeoff in the future. China was obviously unsettled about this new innovation and even suggested that the carrier was specifically designed to operate against them, dismissing the anti-submarine functions as a cover story by the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force. The name of the JS Izumo also raised some controversy amongst Chinese political and military circles. The original Izumo, an armored cruiser, was purchased with reparations from the First Sino-Japanese War, a detail that was far from overlooked. However, Japanese officials consistently refuted these speculations for years. They steadfastly maintained that they had no plans to use Izumo as an aircraft carrier, making reference to the lack of catapults for launching fighters and the absence of a ski jump ramp on the flight deck for fixed-wing aircraft launches as tangible proof. Despite the several speeches to deny the claims made by China, sure enough, in 2018, Japanese officials announced that the JSDF's Izumo-class helicopter carriers, Izumo and sister ship Kaga, would be converted to host F-35B short takeoff, vertical launch stealth jets. As such, the platform will be transformed into a weapon Tokyo hasn't wielded since 1945. However, the ship has neither a ski jump nor a catapult, which are typical features used in launching fixed-wing aircraft. If JS Izumo operated fixed-wing aircraft, it would be limited to short takeoff vertical landing aircraft, or STOVL aircraft for short. This STOVL approach seemed manageable enough for Japan's Ministry of Defense. And so, despite already having the conventional version of the F-35, that is the F-35A, Japan announced in December 2018 that it would purchase about 40 F-35Bs to be shared between Izumo and its sister carrier Kaga after conversion. 3 years later, two United States Marine Corps F-35B fighters performed the first vertical landings and horizontal takeoffs from Izumo, marking the first time in more than 75 years that a fixed-wing aircraft would be operated from a Japanese carrier. Izumo's conversion began in 2020 with initial modifications that included strengthening the heat resistance of the deck and installing power supply equipment to enable the departure and arrival of the F-35B. A second renovation to change the bow shape to a quadrangle for the safe operation of the F-35B and the maintenance of the interior compartments is scheduled to be carried out starting at the end of 2024. This would result in the JS Izumo becoming, although still 68% lighter than the Chinese Fujin, a lethal 26,000-ton aircraft carrier armed with a minimum of 12 Fe-35Bs, 7 anti-submarine helicopters, 2 search and rescue helicopters, and a variety of other aircraft. For built-in fittings, the Izumo has an air defense suite consisting of 2 phalanx and 2 CIWs, or close-in weapon systems. It has a wide array of sensors, processing equipment, electronic warfare, and decoys that enable it to spot and counter threats in time. All of these are powered by a propulsion system of a coglag with 2 shafts and 4 GE IE LM 2500 IEC gas turbine that produce up to 112 horsepower, equivalent to 83,600 kilowatts. This propulsion system thrusts the Izumo to a top speed of 30 knots and provides enough power across the entire ship to serve a complement of 520 people. All of these features and capabilities add up to give the Izumo a price tag of just over $1 billion. The second set of upgrades, which should take place at the end of 2024, would involve changing the front of the ship for the safe operations of F-35B and maintaining the inside spaces. No plans were mentioned concerning the addition of a catapult or a sloping runway for the deployment of this jet. The Izumo and its twin, Kaga, are what Japan would bring to the table in the trio, including the UK and the US. Each aircraft carrier offered from the UK, though, would be even more impressive and at least 3 times more expensive. In September 2021, this aircraft carrier joined the British aircraft Castile, HMS Queen Elizabeth, and other formidable carriers during an exercise that was being carried out in the Pacific. The United States Marine Corps F-35B fighter made use of the Izumo for the very first time in October of that same year. Let's explore the UK's Queen Elizabeth aircraft carrier class. This aircraft is a class of 2 aircraft carriers of the United Kingdom's Royal Navy, which are the central components of the UK Carrier Strike Group. HMS Queen Elizabeth, the main ship of the Queen Elizabeth class of aircraft carriers, serves as the fleet flagship of the Royal Navy. It can carry 60 aircraft, including fixed-wing, rotary-wing, and autonomous vehicles. Named after the World War I super dreadnought HMS Queen Elizabeth, which honored Queen Elizabeth I, this carrier continues the legacy with the same honors, crest, and motto. The carrier is designed to operate VTOL aircraft, typically carrying F-35B Lightning II fighters and Merlin helicopters for early warning and anti-submarine warfare. It can accommodate 250 Royal Marines and support them with attack helicopters and large transports like Chinooks. The ship is based at HMNB Portsmouth. The carrier will be the centerpiece of a UK carrier strike group supported by escorts and other ships to deliver carrier-enabled power projection. The carrier is 3 times larger than the Invincible class and can carry about 3 times more aircraft, with marginally fewer crew members. It has 2 superstructures, or islands, for navigation and flight operations, each capable of taking over the other's functions if needed. At a displacement of 65,000 tons each, they are the largest warships ever constructed for the Royal Navy. Although 19% lighter than the Chinese Fujin, each Queen Elizabeth-class carrier can reach top speeds of up to 32 knots across an operational range of 12,000 miles. That's 1.5 times the diameter of the planet. This is made possible by an integrated electric propulsion system and power source, consisting of 2 Rolls-Royce Marine Trent MT-30, 4 Wärtsilä 16V38 marine diesel engines, 4 GE power conversion advanced induction motors, and VDM-25 drives that all combine to produce 158,000 horsepower. This setup was opted for over a more beneficial nuclear propulsion system for cost and maintenance reasons. In terms of attack, Each carrier has 3 phalanx CIWs, 4 30mm DS-30 BMK-2 guns, and 6 miniguns for non-built-in offenses. Each carrier can carry up to 40 aircraft consisting of an assortment of Chinook, Apache, Merlin, and Wildcat helicopters, airborne early warning and control aircraft, and the F-35B Lightning II stealth fighter. This variant of the F-35B was chosen, as in the case of Japan's aircraft carrier, due to its STOVL capabilities. Because neither of the Queen Elizabeth-class carriers features a catapult-assisted takeoff, barrier-arrested recovery configuration, or CATABAR for short, in every other department, these carriers, when optimally operated by their complement of 1,600 people, are not found wanting, justifying their budget-zapping combined cost of over $9.3 billion. As impressive as it may seem, the total cost is much less than the expense of one USS Ford supercarrier, which the U.S. would deploy in such a scenario. This brings us to the United States USS Gerald Ford. The 100,000-ton carrier is the largest, heaviest, and most capable aircraft carrier ever built. An aircraft carrier that is powered with 2 Bechtel A-1B nuclear reactors, the most cutting-edge engines created for use on water. This carrier is so powerful that it would only need to be refueled once over its entire 50-year operational life, as these engines make use of the everlasting nature of nuclear energy. And with a peak speed of around 30 knots, the supercarrier can access every country on the planet just in time to pay friendly visits to allies and wreak havoc on enemies. The carrier has 2 new nuclear plants that generate up to 3 times more electricity than the older ones. This power can support an entire floating city, including food services, medical facilities, waste management, and desalination plants. Imagine how advanced this cargo ship is. It truly is a technological marvel. This powerful ship is 333 meters long and can travel at 30 nautical miles per hour. It is 40.8 meters wide with a flight deck width of 78 meters, weighs 100,000 tons, can launch 160 flights per day, and is powered by 30-ton bronze propellers. The CVN-78 and other ships in the Gerald R. Ford class has 23 new and upgraded systems compared to the Nimitz class. For instance, it has a dual-band radar combining X-band and S-band phased arrays, offering better capabilities for various missions. Its open architecture software allows more autonomy with minimal human intervention. The radar system has 6 faces, 3 for tracking low-flying objects, and 3 for finding targets in any weather. It's the first to use 2 frequencies controlled by 1 manager, has no moving parts, and requires less maintenance. There are 3 arrays above decks and processing units below, powered by a system called CAPS and cooled by CAC-COS. A similar radar, EDASR, will replace it on some ships, costing less per unit. The electromagnetic aircraft launch system uses an electric motor to control acceleration better, allowing for slower speeds when launching drones and providing more flexibility with wind conditions during takeoff. EMALS also reduces stress on both planes and pilots. The USS Gerald R. Ford is equipped with advanced armaments like 2 Mark 29 launchers, with 8 Evolved Sea Sparrow missiles each, and 2 Mark 49 launchers, with 21 rolling airframe missiles each. Sea Sparrow missiles provide self-defense against air and surface threats. The ship also has 3 phalanx CIWs, 4 25mm machine gun systems, and 4 50 caliber machine guns. The advanced arresting gear system uses electromagnets instead of hydraulics to slow and stop landing aircraft, making it more flexible, safe, and reliable. It reduces maintenance and requires fewer crew members. The A-1B reactor design on these carriers provides greater power generation. It is smaller, simpler, needs fewer crew members, and is much more powerful than the Nimitz-class A-4W reactor. Each carrier will have 2 reactors, providing at least 25% more power than the 2 reactors on a Nimitz-class carrier, and triple the amount of thermal power converted to electricity. These carriers convert steam into power using 4 main turbine generators, providing electricity for major systems and new electromagnetic catapults. They use steam turbines for propulsion. This increased power output is crucial for the integrated warfare system and future technological advances. Currently, only half of the electric power capacity is used, leaving the other half available for future systems. The most noticeable difference from earlier supercarriers is that the island is located further back. These carriers will cost less over their lifetime, partly because they need fewer crew members. They are designed to handle 160 flights per day for over 30 days, with a maximum of 270 flights per day. However, Michael Gilmore, the Director of Operational Testing, has said these expectations are unrealistic, and that flight rates similar to the Nimitz class would be acceptable. These aircraft carriers are some of the most powerful naval vessels in the world. Thanks for watching. While you are still here, click on the link on your screen to check out another of our videos. See you there.